Hello, everyone. This is Matt.
And Pete.
Owner Builders Unite. We're coming at you with the top 5 things you should know before you build an Earthship. And we're just going to brush over this top 5 list. And then we're going to do videos for each 1 through 5, little parts and series. Let us know what you think. If you want us to go in depth on something, ask in the comments. And yeah, Pete, take it away.
So number one, what does no building codes really mean in pockets of freedom in the sense of how it relates to Earthship? Earthships have talked a lot about over the years pockets of freedom and counties with no building codes. That's kind of what that means, and where you can build an Earthship, pocket of freedom. They're not making any more of them. We'll tell you that right now. Most counties with no building codes are going over the years when they grow, they adapt building codes.
It's getting harder to build these things.
So again, less and less places you can build Earthships actually. And when you do find a pocket of freedom like Saguache County, Colorado, what does no building codes really mean? Does no building codes doesn't necessarily mean you can just build whatever you want on your piece of property. Lots of times you still have to build or pull construction permits. For Colorado and where we live, you still have to pull an electrical and plumbing permit and have inspections on it. You still have to pull a septic permit and have an inspection on it. So another big thing with no building codes is if you live in a unincorporated part of your county, if you live in a township, if you live in a municipality, or if you live in some sort of POA or HOA, lots of times those qualifiers will have additional things like minimum square foot of how big you can build. So you might still be able to build an Earthship or a straw bale house or a house made out of bottles, but in the same sense, there's still things that you have to do. So just really what does that mean in the sense of no building codes versus the reality of that?
For our video on that section, we're going to really go into Saguache County because we're here in Crestone. That's where we're based. You can find a lot of information on your county online, and you can just make phone calls. Call your county, talk to the land use office, talk to people, be friendly. I'm sure you'll get good results from it.
And try to do that before you buy your land.
Absolutely.
Number 2, rainwater harvesting. Can you do it? Lots of states, rainwater harvesting is legal, but some states is illegal or has certain qualifiers of how much you can capture. In the state of Colorado, it's a beautiful state, we love it, but in Colorado, you can technically only capture 110 gallons of rainwater from your roof that's 255-gallon drums. That's not a lot without a permit. There are qualifiers and certain ones that you can get in addition to let you capture unlimited amount of rainwater, which a lot of people don't know. I will preface this. A lot of people do not know this in Colorado, that you can actually pull what's called a GWS 78 permit, rooftop precipitation permit. And depending on if you live off grid and you can qualify for a residential well permit, you may be able to pull this permit. So Matt's actually in the process of doing this right now.
Pete informed me of this, and I just filled my permit out, and we can go over that on our video when we go in depth. Pete catches rainwater in his house right now. I'm having some issues with my gutter system and my cistern, and I think we might be able to include that in the video. It was a mistake I made. You're going to make mistakes in your build. I want to just guide you away from the mistakes that I've made with my rain catchment. It's one of the Earthship principles is, recycling rainwater, catching rainwater. So
absolutely.
We're really excited to do this one.
Number 3, timeline and cost. Timeline and cost is a huge factor in your build, whether you're building an Earthship, a straw bale, passive solar house, it doesn't matter. It is something that you have to have an idea how long you think it's going to take and how much money you think it's going to take. Usually for my case, and I think for Matt's case and most people's cases, it usually takes twice as long and it usually costs twice as much. Nothing's at all easy when it comes to building your own house, especially if you're doing it out of pocket or doing a natural build. Things like Earthship takes huge labor of love in the sense of the physical work of it and the pounding of the tires and all those things that go into it, where you might not think, hey, it doesn't cost a lot, but after those tires are done and pounded, you have tens of thousands of dollars worth of things. Even if you're using repurposed materials and trying to scrape by with used building materials, it's still very expensive and can take a lot of time.
Timeline and cost is a huge question we get asked all the time. How long did it take you to build your house? we always say, well, we're kind of done, but a lot of these like off-grid homes, you're still working on them, you're still living them, you're living with your system. Cost is out normally double. Building prices have really skyrocketed lately, and we do have a video called Earthship Hidden Costs. That's a good video to reference to. We might not touch on number 3 so much with another part because of the Earthship Hidden Cost video. Just, expect it to cost more. And yeah, just enjoy your time building your house.
Number 4, gray water. Can I do it? Can you do it? Lots of states have certain rules and regulation, kind of similar to the rainwater harvesting type of thing, or even the no building codes. Some states have certain qualifiers, and some states have things, and counties are specific versus, urban county. A rural county might be a little bit different. So just knowing the ins and outs of one of the main Earthship principles, which is repurposing water, and what you can literally do with it, because again, with permits like plumbing inspections and things like that you might have to pass, even if you live with no building codes, they want to see that stuff. So
gray water's huge for me. I love gray water systems. I have one here in our house, and we're probably going to do a video on this and do what I have going on with the gray water system. Look in your county for loopholes for gray water. A lot of the times you can't use it inside your house. A lot of times you can use it in your greenhouse. A lot of the times you can kind of do some things after just to recycle water. I believe it's a very important thing to do is recycle your water, not flush your toilet with drinking water, and water your plants after you're done washing your dishes or taking a shower. It's pretty simple. During the energy fair, the Crestone Energy Fair this year, they filmed us. I was on the building panel representing the gray water. It's pretty good content. It's on, where do you find that?
Crestone Energy Fair's YouTube channel. And also on Crestone Energy Fair's YouTube channel, we did a great podcast about a year ago, Matt and 3 other friends, on gray water systems and specific systems, small systems, big systems, everything in between, people that are professionals in the field of water treatment and wastewater treatment. So, feel free to go ahead and go to the Gray Water podcast on the Crestone Energy Fair. And again, they have cool panels and topics along those lines that are a lot of the stuff that we talk about. So big shout out to the Energy Fair crew.
And a lot of smart people on those panels. Nick Chambers, Jeff Demers, Eric Mackey's in the podcast, Donovan Spitzman, our buddy Taylor. He does a mushroom thing on fungi, and yeah, it's just great. And just hopefully you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, a lot of real people doing it. Number 5, expectations and commitment. Man, an Earthship is probably and building my own house is the hardest thing I've ever done, and I'm sure it's about the same for Matt. Both of us have not ever built a house before, so our own houses were the very first houses that we kind of got after. My expectation was to get it done a lot quicker than I did. Luckily, within 5 years, we both got our houses done. Like Matt said, there's always interior things and finishes that you're going to do, but we passed our electrical and plumbing finals and all the outdoor stuff, and we're enclosed and we're warm. So that's really what it comes down to, is having shelter in a place where you don't have to pay a mortgage. You don't have to keep on paying rent for the rest of your life and be a wage slave. Half of your income, someone's income usually goes to their rent or their mortgage. So to be able to jump through that loophole of the system, it's a big step forward in the sense of what you can do for yourself.
Expectations and commitment. We just want you guys to really be prepared for what you could jump into. Goldie brought me down to the greater world and introduced me to Ron. Big shout out to Ron.
Love Ron.
And he is a very kind of intense guy, really great dude, full of so much knowledge, almost overwhelming, very smart. And he was just kind of like, this will drain you. It's going to take everything you got. And, him telling me that just really steered me in the right direction. And your commitment, it's 110% commitment to build your house. A lot of people think they can just come down on the weekends and build a house. I don't think that's very realistic with an Earthship. Alternative builds, a lot of our friends in alternative builds are up to their eyeballs in just stress and trying to get their houses done, and they're going through the waves of building your own house. And I think it's a beautiful thing. If it was easy, everyone would do it. We don't want to steer you away. We just want to prepare you and get you ready to do it and kind of build you up. And just push you in that right direction.
And if you can do it out of pocket, great. I didn't have a lot of money saved up when I initially went after it. I think I maybe had 10 grand when I started from the very beginning, but that money goes so quick. So whether that's, kind of living without with certain things, or if something happens where you have to save that penny for another day for your cement bags or your lumber or whatever, just have that in mind, is it's going to be, a long journey. So just have that expectation.
And so if you guys want us to go in depth before we make these videos and you have questions, we really want your feedback. We just want to hear what you guys have to say, what you want to know. Me and Peter taking the channel pretty seriously now, and we're adding a lot more time to it. There's a good time to ask us questions before we film these other things. We can go in depth. We're going to go in depth on all these, really. And in Crestone, there's pretty much every type of alternative build. So if you guys want to see something specific, we don't just do Earthship. We do a lot of different things all over the place here in Crestone, and we've seen a lot of stuff. So if you want to see a house in particular, you have questions for us, go ahead and ask, and we can probably do a video on something if you're interested in it.
We got an updated home tour of Matt and Goldie's house, which is so beautiful, and the plants in here are just tremendous. You guys got to see them. We got an updated home tour of my place. We have an updated home tour of Andy and Elizabeth's after a year of progress on their Scoria bag house. We have 2 other friends with Earthships here in Crestone, and we're going to give you tours of those. One of them's a 2nd-story Earthship, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, pretty much between the home tours, we got a lot more DIY and how-to videos coming. And again, like Matt said, more in-depth videos of these 5 topics that you should know about before you start your Earthship build.
Like and subscribe. Tell us your friends about us. And yeah, send some links, and we'll see you guys later. Owner Builders Unite.